Okay, then I'll read from Rays of the One Light with passages from the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita. This week's chapter is called Perfection is Self-Transcendence. The title is very important. Perfection is Self-Transcendence. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. We begin this week with a passage from the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 5. Love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. If ye love them which love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the tax collectors the same? And if ye salute your brethren only, what do ye more than others? Do not even pagans so? Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father, which is in heaven, is perfect. This teaching is a continuation of last week's lesson. To love all equally is possible only by seeing God everywhere, in others as well as in oneself. See whatever comes to you unasked for as a manifestation of His will. Be grateful for the pains you experience, for they are healing strokes of His love. Sometimes healing is effected only by strong measures, but His love for you is manifested in the very attempt to heal. Strive always to be impersonal, as though whatever happens to you were happening to someone else. Persecution gives us the supreme opportunity to deny the thought, this is happening to me, and to affirm our inner freedom from the thought of ego. Don't allow the negative perceptions of others to become your own self-definition. Seek God. This is the true goal of life, though how difficult to cling to in the midst of hatred, spite, and persecution. The Bhagavad Gita tells us in the 7th chapter, out of thousands, one strives for spiritual attainment, and out of many blessed true seekers who strive assiduously to reach me, one, perhaps, perceives me as I am. O truth seeker, be one among all those thousands who seeks the supreme goal. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om, Om, Om. Well, this week's reading, I said that the title was very important. Perfection is self-transcendence. And then the reading is about being free of the ego and loving all. And to me, this reading, when I think about the life of Swamiji, Swami Kriyananda, this reading so perfectly expresses one of the greatest things he brought, I believe, to all of us and to the world. I don't know if you've noticed this, but there is a big trap on the spiritual path that people fall into. They're meditating, they feel something special inside, and they begin to think they're special. And so I have known people, and maybe you've known people, who, because they're a spiritual person, think that they're better than you are, or they are higher than you, or whatever, which is exactly the opposite of what the whole spiritual path is about. And yet not everyone sees this so well. And I think Swamiji has expressed that so beautifully that you feel it through all of his ministers, you feel it through all of the people coming. There's just a clarity that we're here to find God. We're not here to play games and see who's the most spiritual and who's better and who's the best devotee and whatever. We just want to love each other and love everyone equally. So Swami, just by having that clear sense of, I'm not here to pretend that I'm special, I'm here to seriously become special by getting rid of my ego. By doing that, by being free in that way, he was in such a place of just seeing that everyone was the same and loving everyone that way. You probably heard, some of you anyway, near the end of his life, Swami didn't speak in he told some of the same stories again and again. And I think there were some stories he really wanted to make sure he was leaving us with. We were getting it. And one of his most meaningful stories was of a dream he had. Have you heard this story? He had a dream, and there were lots and lots of people coming toward him, and some of those people were nice people, ordinary people, evil people, all different parts of society walking toward him. And he said, I felt in every one that they were seeking the same thing that I was. They were seeking joy. They were seeking God's joy. And because of that, I felt love for all of them. And so this is this message that he is was leaving us with. And I think this reading today is also reminding us, no matter what happens, we aren't here for ourselves. Master, in the autobiography of a yogi, said something that struck me so unusual at the time. Swami has said it in this reading, in a similar way, but Master said man's greatest problem is egoism. He thinks what's happening to him is happening to him personally. And when I first read that, I thought, wait a minute, of course it's happening to him personally. But of course, as we go on the spiritual path, we realize, no, we're not just this little tiny body in this little vulnerable personality. We are spirit. We are God. In the autobiography, he talks about how the masters see all humanity as very, very similar. We think, oh, this person is so talented in this way, and this person has a really bad temper, and this person, everybody seems so different when you're up close. But the masters are looking at us from the perspective of divinity, and they just see children of God, each wearing a different costume. So if you think about, imagine that you've gone to a play of the Ramayana that's being put on by some small children. And all of the children are wearing costumes. And so they all look different, and one of them might be Ravana, and he's portrayed really horrible, and maybe has many heads, and a terrifying aspect. But watching the play, you're not at all frightened, because that's the little boy that lives next door to you. You don't think it's Ravana, you know who it is. It's just this little boy. So in the same way, the masters look at us and they go, oh, you were just wearing that little costume, the Ashwini costume, you're wearing that in this lifetime, but that's not who you are. I can see that you're really just a being of light. You're just perfection itself. It doesn't matter if you're get angry sometimes, or if you forget things or whatever, you're a child of light, and that's how they see us. And that's, Swami went through life that way because he wasn't concerned about himself. Sometimes people say, oh, being impersonal is, and he talks about it in the reading, be more impersonal. And in this country, I don't know if you have the same confusion in India, maybe not. In this country, people think, oh, impersonal means being cold. You know, I'm impersonal, I don't care about you. You know, that's what people think it means in this country. In the spiritual path, that's not what impersonal means. Impersonal means I don't care about myself. I don't care about my likes and my dislikes, my preferences. They mean nothing. What difference does it make? All I care about is being in God's vibration of light and love. And so that's what the masters and what our Momiji showed us, is how to live in that. So whatever happens, it just doesn't matter. You're just able to see the light behind it and see God behind it. At a gathering, my first year at Ananda, Swamiji said, it's all so simple. Life is so simple. Just see God as the giver. No matter what is happening, God is giving it. God is there. So we're trying to live that way. And Master Yogananda gave us wonderful, wonderful example of this. Swamiji, when he lived in San Francisco in 1962, he met a wonderful man, Indian man named Haridas Chaudhry, who had met Master when he first came to the United States. When Haridas Chaudhry came to the United States, Master was alive and Haridas Chaudhry met him. But before he met him, he met people in the Indian community. And there were people who were maybe, I don't know, jealous of Yogananda. Maybe they didn't like the way he was sharing India's teachings. But they were very critical of Yogananda. And they talked to Haridas Chaudhry, oh, he's no good, he's bad in this way, and he's bad in that way, and so on like that. And Haridas Chaudhry didn't know him. He just wondered that everyone had these opinions. And when he said, when I met Yogananda, Yogananda had nothing but good to say about all of those people. And he said, when I heard that, then I knew who had the problem. It wasn't Yogananda. It was these people. So that's the way they live. Another time, Yogananda had a disciple. His name was Yogi Kagan. And Yogi Kagan left Yogananda, went off on his own to become a spiritual teacher, left the master. And there was a gathering, a lecture there he was giving. And he said, who in this audience is a disciple of Yogananda? And some people proudly stood up. They thought he's going to say something wonderful about Yogananda. But he didn't. He just told them it was, they were following the wrong way, it was a terrible thing, and so on. He was very critical. And they were very upset. And they went to Yogananda and they said, this is not right. He should not be speaking this way. And Yogananda said, don't worry. I will take care of it. So he called Yogi Kagan on the phone. And all he did was thank him for the wonderful work he was doing spreading India's teachings in the United States. Only love. Only love. Just, he wasn't bothered by details of a little criticism. The man was serving God, and that was the most important thing. So living in this way, we can't do it by affirming, okay, today I will love everyone. We'll get caught. It's not so easy. We make the decision, today I will love everyone. You come out, your wife or your husband says something to you and you're like, oh, I was get mad right away. So we have to come from a deeper place. We have to have the experience of God inside of ourselves. We have to meditate. We have to feel, I don't care about my little ego. I don't care. This is so beautiful. God's presence is so beautiful. I don't care about little me. And that expands us. Master said that, I've thought about this very much. You know, one thing about working on these books that Dharmarajan mentioned, I compile books of Yogananda's writing, so I get to read what he says again and again, and it helps me to keep the thoughts in my mind. And this struck me very much. He said, you look at the body all the time. We're always looking at the body. We look down, there are our hands. We brush our teeth, there's our face. You know, our feet are right there. And you're seeing the body all the time, so you think that's who you are. You just get caught. And he said it's very, very important to meditate on thoughts like, I am infinite. I am infinite. To break out of the feeling of being limited to this little person and what will happen. Maybe some people won't like me. Some people will criticize me. No, it doesn't matter, because we just want to be bigger than that. So that's what we're working on. And Swamiji, through Dharmarajan and Dharmini, is just helping all of you all, as he's helping all of our work around the world, to not be concerned about the ego, to say, I'm so much more than that. And it's a wonderful blessing that we have. Not all paths are so clear that way. And because of that, you feel so much, I can feel it in all of you, so much joy of spiritual family. Because you don't have to compete. You just want to share with each other. And that's the gift that Swami has given to us. A friend of mine was there when he was interviewed by an Indian newspaper. And the woman who was interviewing him was very young. She didn't know anything about the spiritual path, and she was a young person. And she said to Swami, Sir, you've been teaching many years. You must have certain disciples, certain students who are you especially feel close to after all this time. They're your favorites. Who would that be? So I said, no, that's not true. And she didn't understand. And she kept saying, but surely after so many years of teaching and working with so many different people, there's some people that are especially close to you. No, that's not true. And she kept trying to get him to say who those people were. And he said, no, you don't understand. You are as important to me as any of those people. He cares about everyone. It was so interesting to me over the years, especially near the end of his life. He would give different people spiritual names. And I would know those people because I worked with them or knew them, and I knew Swami hardly had ever met them. Maybe he'd only seen their picture. And yet, the name that he would give them was just perfect for them. I thought, how could he know them so well? But there was no sense of separation. In so many years, I've met so many people who said to me, Swami was a special friend of mine. He was, they felt that they had been singled out as his special friend. And I just smile and go, yes, I'm sure. I'm sure, because everyone was his special friend. And that was because he lived in a very, very large consciousness. And for us to have seen that, or even to feel it through his other ministers, through your ministers, Dharmarajan and Dharmini, through Nayaswami, Jyotish and Devi, to feel that, it makes it so easy to get on that wavelength, doesn't it? Because it's who we are. And when we see it, we recognize it, and we say, yes, I want to be like that. I want to be loving to everyone. It's to have that example just clarifies the mind so beautifully. Swami was asked by another newspaper reporter. She said to him, Yogananda said, before he died, one of his disciples said to him, Master, what will we do when you're gone? And he said, only love can take my place. And this newspaper reporter said to Swamiji, what would you say? What would you say when Kriyananda is gone? What will take your place? And he answered, kindness. Isn't that beautiful? Kindness. Because that's so much what we feel in our path. The desire to be kind. We feel kindness from our Guru Bhais. It's a beautiful, beautiful part of what Ananda is. I was thinking about something recently. Nayaswami Devi shared something that happened to her recently. When she came back to the United States, she got a bad cough, bronchitis. And she was very ill. And so she woke up in the middle of the night, and you know what that's like when you're very ill and you wake up in the night and you're coughing and you feel really bad. She didn't want to turn on the light and wake up Jyotish. So she's just sitting there in the dark. And she had the thought, what is real in this moment? What is real? Which I think is pretty great. Because when your whole body is just feeling terrible and you're coughing and you tend to feel that the body is real. But she said, what is real? And she started to feel, what is real in this moment is the presence of God's joy inside of me. And she started to dig underneath the surface. The surface didn't feel good at all. But underneath that, there was something better. There was a quiet joy. And she started to feel, okay, this is what's real. And she said, interestingly, when she tuned into that joy, then she got relaxed. She was able to go back to sleep and help her get well. So I've been thinking about that, because you don't have to have bronchitis to think that way. You could be riding in traffic. You could be, things could be not so good. It could be, a day where you don't feel very, very cheerful, or somebody is not feeling very cheerful toward you. And you could just say, what's real? What's real now? Okay, there's nothing, none of this is real. The joy is real. And we can start to refocus ourselves that way. So I wanted to share with you something that I've just read in Master's teachings. I had not read it before. It's going to be in the next book, which is called How to Awaken Your True Potential. And it's an exercise he gave, and I'll tell you about it, and we'll practice it very briefly together. He said that what you should do in the morning, before you get out of bed, at noon for 15 minutes, and at night when you're falling asleep, you should lie on your back, completely relaxed. You should put aside the thought of time, and you should inhale and exhale, and while your breath is out, on the exhalation, focus your mind at the spiritual eye and repeat, Om Spirit Bliss. Om Spirit Bliss. He said to do that 12 times. Now, I have to say, it's very hard to do that even 3 times when you have your no breath. Maybe some of you can do it more. I can only do it 3 at this point. But so what I do is I exhale, repeat Om Spirit Bliss, Om Spirit Bliss, silently, but focusing here with a lot of strength. And then you inhale, when you've done as many of those as you can. Then I have to catch my breath a little bit. I don't know if that was part of the plan, but I have to do that. And then I do it again. He said to repeat that 12 to 24 times, which is also, it's quite a big assignment. But I have to say that as I've been doing this, I've been thinking, what is this exercise? I think Master was giving us a technique to leave the body consciously, to leave the body, the spiritual eye, to go to God. Okay? When we die, we exhale. And if we can get in the habit of bringing our mind here to God when we exhale, this is a very, very good habit to cultivate, because when you need it, you'll have it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does this make sense? Okay, we're going to try it just once so you get the feeling for it. So you can just, we're not going to lie on our back, but we'll just sit up. And just take a deep breath in. And then exhale your breath. And while the breath is out, bring your mind strongly to the spiritual eye. Om Spirit Bliss. Om Spirit Bliss. Om Spirit Bliss. Now inhale when you need to. Take a couple breaths and let's just do it one more time. Exhale. Om Spirit Bliss. Om Spirit Bliss. Om Spirit Bliss. Breathe. Om. Peace. Amen.
Do you have any questions for Anandiji? Anything you'd like to ask? While you're thinking of your questions, I'd like to also, on behalf of everyone, this is a gift that it's very fun that you can sort of, I should have taken it through the screen, and then from the screen, this is a gift they all got for you.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. What a amazing thing to do. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. This is wonderful. Thank you. That's so kind. Really. Very unexpected. Thank you very much.
Okay, question number 1.
What did she say?
When are you coming to Chennai?
I don't know. I'm happy to meet you at least by this way. Thank you. You should ask for question number 2 now. Question number 2 is always easier than question number 1.
Can you share your experience on the crystal series group? Master's books that you combined? How was it?
Can you share your experience on the Wisdom series, maybe how it came into being in the first place?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for asking. In about 2003, the man who was the publisher of Swami's publishing house, Crystal Clarity, asked me if I would create this series. And I said, you better ask Swami Kriyananda if I have permission to do this, because working with Master's words is very sensitive. And he did, but Swami never really understood what we were doing. So Sean, the publisher, said to me, just decide, go through all the writings and decide what you want to do. So Yogananda has written many, many original things, series of lessons, magazine articles, and so on, that are available. They are not copyrighted. And so I was going through all of them, and slots. I just was overwhelmed, but it just became obvious what he was talking about again and again and again was happiness. I mean, it just jumped right out. And I said, well, the first book has to be How to Be Happy All the Time. It was like he almost just handed it to me. And so then I just went through all the different lessons and assembled all the things on happiness, and I was like, oh, here's a chapter, here's a chapter. It was so effortless. It was really fascinating. I just didn't feel like the doer at all. And so then that was one, and then each time, sometimes the publisher would have an idea for one, sometimes I would have an idea for one, and we would just work our way through. And so we have 6 of them, and they're all, most of you haven't read them, but they're very easy to read because they're very short. They're like, sometimes it's like just a small paragraph on the subject, like how to be a success, or how to have how to achieve glowing health and vitality. Something short, but the words are so filled with power that it is really amazing. And I have to say that the book on happiness, personally, I think was a huge help to me in my life, because I read the book again and again and again. And Yogananda says, this is what he says, this is the secret of the book, even though it's many chapters, what he's really saying is happiness is a choice. If you want to be happy all the time, here's how you do it. Be happy. If you be happy now, and then you be happy in 5 minutes, and then you be happy again, you'll be happy your whole life. And so that's the message, and it was so powerful. I mean, I just thought, I really need to hear this just all the time. So that's a little bit about them, but it's all been very interesting experience and wonderful experience, yeah.
And did Swamiji at some point give any commentaries, or when?
Well, when he saw the happiness book, he realized that he didn't know what I was actually doing, but he really, really liked it. And we went to his house. I wanted to give him a copy myself, even though the publisher had given him one. And he said, "You did a very good job." And I was shocked. I said, "Swamiji, Master did it." And then he said it again, and I said the same thing. And then he said it again, and I went, I think I'm not getting this. I don't think I'm doing this right. He's trying to teach me something. So I just said, thank you, thank you. But I felt that way so much that I didn't know what else to say. But anyway, so it's all, Swami was always stretching you. You weren't ever sure, did I get it or did I not get it? But anyway, we're all in process all the time. So.
And you said the newest book is?
The newest book is called How to Awaken Your True Potential. So it's it's getting close to, it's supposed to come out next January, and it talks about your habits. Wonderful. I try not to repeat thoughts. Everything he says is so fresh about habits. Getting rid of bad habits, getting good habits, how to use your mind, how to meditate, why we meditate, how we meditate, and some suggestions. As I said, the experience I just told you, I'd never read that before, and so that'll be in the book, and some other things that you haven't seen before will be there. So these books are a nice way to get into Yogananda's teachings that you can't find other places. So that's one of the reasons I like them so much. So.
Anandi, can you share a bit about how you found Swami?
I found Swami. Well, yes, I can. I came to California when I was 21 or something like that, and I was just aimless. I had no purpose. I was going to go to graduate school, but I didn't see any purpose to life particularly, except to have a nice time. And when I was 23, the night before my 23rd birthday, that was a description of me. No purpose in life. The morning of my 23rd birthday, I woke up and I was weeping. I said, I can't live my life like this anymore. I have to find out what life is about and why I'm here. So I didn't decide to get on the spiritual path. I was shot out of a gun onto the spiritual path. I guess it was from past life. So that set me on a journey. I never knew anyone who meditated. This was 1970. People in America, the Beatles meditated. That was about it. The Beatles meditated. So I took transcendental meditation. I liked that, but I felt I was on a journey and I wasn't arrived yet. So I kept looking and looking, and I went to Canada to visit a friend. I met someone in Canada who knew someone at Ananda, and they made me a map of how to get to Ananda. I came here. I met Shivani. Do they know Shivani? You know Shivani. So she is a sister from many lives, and she introduced me to everything, and then that's how I found Ananda and Swami and Master and everything. So thank you for asking.
One small question, clarification, brother. You just mentioned, not queries, but prior to that, when you just gave a discourse, you were mentioning that we are not supposed to be special, right? Because we are on the path, or because we have started realizing our awareness of the spiritual presence. But on the other hand, when we have a feel of spiritual presence, we really feel that we are slightly, it's not better off or something, but what we can give or what we can share to others is only when we have something, right?
Yes.
So, is it not better to feel that way?
That's a very good question. It's a subtle point, because Yogananda's most advanced woman disciple, Sister Jnanamata, said, "I feel the Master came just for me." Now, she knew he didn't, but it was such a personal feeling. And so, yeah, you feel the same way. He came just for you. So there is that happens. But we want to feel totally loved by God. But we also want to feel, we don't want to build our ego. So if we can feel like, when we feel that love filling us, we're offering it back. We're offering it back. It keeps it pure. In my early days at Ananda, I used to have some wonderful experiences like what you described. Felt very uplifted and joyful. And I felt like I'd go way up, and then I would go way down. And I said, "Swamiji, what is happening? Why do I go like this?" And he said, "You're flying with your own wings." He said, when you feel that uplift, God is giving you a touch of His love. And we take it to ourselves and go, I never want to lose this, okay? I never want to lose this. And right away, we're back in our ego. So then we just drop. So it was so painful to keep dropping that I started to, when that uplift came, I tried to feel very big. Just feel like this is just happening. It's just happening. It's not happening to Anandi. I'm not going, I never want to lose this. I'm just receiving and offering it back. But there's nobody here. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah, because it's true what you said. And that's why it's such a trap. Because it's real. Like Swami said, people get spiritual pride. He said it's very hard to get over spiritual pride because you have something that's very real. It's not just like you just got a new car or something. This is very real. So, yeah. Yeah. So we're on a journey. Thank you.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
I heard one fun story I'm going to tell you. It's part of the service about how to just live without ego. And imagine that there's a man in a boat, and he's paddling his boat along, and another boat comes heading toward him. And that boat, he notices that boat is empty, and the boat is coming right at him. So he just moves his boat so he's not getting hit. Later, he's paddling along, and he sees another boat coming toward him, but this boat has somebody in it. And so then, instead of paddling out of the way like he did before, he starts to yell at the person in the boat. He's yelling at them, stop doing that, stop doing that. And so the moral of this story is, if people are yelling at you, that's because there's someone in your boat. In other words, our ego is there. So if you're having things happen, we tend to think, oh, why is this happening to me? They're such an angry person. No, it's happening because there you are. There's your ego. So if we can get more free inside, we won't have people yelling at us.
Oh, that's lovely. That's wonderful.
Thank you all. Wonderful to meet you in this way, and thank you so much for sending a gift that's very, very sweet. Thank you.